parts department and meet our new parts manager. Now, Darren just came in from one of the biggest parts houses in Dallas. We just got a big load of parts in, now runs the parts inventory up to about $1 million. I want you to go over and take a look. When you want a part, when you buy a Mitsubishi or a Chrysler or a Suzuki car or a Jeep, you're going to find 9 out of 10 times that part is here. Sometimes there's something you don't have, but we can get it in from Honolulu if we don't have it, like overnight. So you come down to the store that takes care of its customers. If you want service and parts, this is a place to get it. And remember, I'm going to do something this weekend. I'm going to extend that 1990 clearance sale on 1991 models. So come in this weekend, and all those big bargains that you bought out on those 1990s last week, you can get this week. And remember, grocers from beautiful Payless Markets, and we'll give you a beautiful watch, 18-karat layered gold with every deal. We love you, Guam.
Welcome to the award-winning cable news with the latest local, national, and international news, weather, and sports information. Now the most comprehensive news organization on Guam and in the Northern Marianas, the Cable News Team.
Happy Veterans Day. I'm Farland Chang, and welcome to the Sunday edition of Cable News. The U.S. is continuing to bolster its forces in the Middle East to 430,000 soldiers. Secretary of State James Baker says it's time to turn up the pressure on Iraq as he ended his journey to the Mideast and Europe. On Guam, Navy Admiral James Perkins says he has no definite word yet on whether the Navy men here will be among those deployed.
I've heard the same reports you have. We don't have any notice yet of forces here on Guam that'll be moving, but it's a pretty major buildup, and it'll affect forces all over the world.
While many military folks here and on the mainland wait for the call to head out to the Persian Gulf, on Guam, Navy families welcomed home loved ones from 2 units that spent the last 100 days in the Middle East hotspot. That's the Helicopter Combat Support Squadron 5 and the USS White Plains. HC-5 choppers shuttled back and forth since 9 this morning, bringing cargo from the incoming White Plains to the Naval Air Station. The head of the HC-5 squadron, Commander Tom Ford, says they successfully deployed with no problems to report.
We have not had any major problems at all out there. In fact, I'm very proud of the performance that our pilots and our air crews and especially our maintenance people have been doing, maintaining the aircraft and providing support.
Ford says 2 of his HH-46D helicopters and 28 crew members took part in Operation Desert Shield. He says they helped provide logistic support to the battle group.
Their primary mission is to transfer passengers and mail and cargo, both internally and externally, to all the ships out there. We follow the ships, of course, being on a supply ship. We go in with the supply ship into port, and we'll either transport the cargo from the pier to the ship via helicopter, or the ship will pull alongside the pier.
The helos were deployed aboard the USS White Plains. That's the combat storage ship on whose return Jacqueline Chandler now reports.
It was just after 1 o'clock today when the bow of the USS White Plains came into sight. 4 months has passed since the combat storage ship saw her familiar island. She returns today from the Middle East, where many say war is imminent. The ship's commander, Bernard Patton, says knowing that made his crew a little nervous.
Naturally, on the way into the Gulf, there was some tension. We knew about the Kuwait invasion, and of course, the crew was a little bit apprehensive, as we all were.
Sailor Eric Urena says he too felt scared.
At first, we really didn't know what to think. Everyone did their part, hard work. Everyone put a lot into what they did. We had good results, and happy to be home.
Initially, the White Plains was only supposed to be gone for 56 days, but those 56 days turned into 108. The commander describes the Gulf as busy and crowded.
There are a lot of ships over there, a lot of water, a lot of ocean, a lot of commitments. And basically, we were doing something every hour of every day around the clock.
Patton adds that he took no special precautions amidst several accidental deaths among servicemen in the Persian Gulf, but he says his men stayed on their toes.
We were able to orchestrate and coordinate everything without overtiring anybody to the point where they became unsafe, and we were careful about everything we did, as we always are.
Patton says no word yet on whether the ship will have to return to the Gulf in the very near future, but he says he, his men, and his ship will be ready. And so they safely disembarked from the USS White Plains, the sons, fathers, and husbands of those waiting dockside. Home again, but ready to leave, they say, if and when duty calls. On Naval Station, Jacqueline Chandler, Cable News.
Today, Secretary of State Baker met with French President Mitterrand to seek his country's military support. Neither said openly that the French will fight, but tonight the two appear to be. We have yet another report of an accidental death in the Gulf region. Officials say a Marine died from a gunshot wound to the head from another Marine's M16 rifle. The Marine was shot while sleeping. Officials say the rifle discharged a single shot. Officials gave no name until they informed his relatives. The incident remains under investigation, and two Marines who were in the tent at the time are being questioned. Officials say the victim was a member of the 3rd Marine Regiment based at Kaneohe in Hawaii. He's the 46th serviceman to die in Operation Desert Shield. Another Kaneohe-based Marine, First Lieutenant Michael Minor, was killed October 30th when a Jeep in which he was riding overturned and went down a 20-foot embankment in Saudi Arabia. 2 other Marines were injured. On a brighter note, the Marines celebrated their 215th birthday this weekend, and although 30,000 Marines must celebrate it without liquor in Saudi Arabia, they improvised as best they could. At the main party, escorts carried a birthday cake on a stretcher, and the color guard adorned themselves in desert camouflage instead of dress blues. And at the Pacific Star last night, the Marines stationed here celebrated with their formal Marine ball. They honored the day when the Continental Congress created the Marines. That gave the okay for 2 battalions to fight on land and sea. That took place in 1775 during the American Revolution against the British. Former Marine Adolph Scambaluri, now the police chief, says the Marines have about 2 divisions with 2 air wings now serving in Saudi Arabia. He says the Marines have honored their heritage ever since 16th Commandant General Lejeune declared November 10th the Marines' birthday. The ball also included a presentation showing how the Marines have served throughout the 20th century during all the wars and recent campaigns such as that in Panama. To all those who are serving and to those who have served, Guam pays tribute today. Please stay with us.
Are you concerned about your child? Does he walk, talk, and play like other children? Is your child having difficulty in school? The Division of Special Education actively searches for children from birth through age 21 who may be in need of services. For information, contact Guam Child Find at 472-8901.
Full black?
If you want the one light that outshines them all, ask for Bud Light.
Now what do you think? It's beautiful.
Because everything else is just a light.
Hey, what about my pizza puffs?
With nearly 430,000 American soldiers slated to deploy in the Middle East soon, this Veterans Day has special meaning. People all over the country are paying tribute to this group of people who sacrificed their lives in the name of peace and freedom. After the U.S. Navy firing detail delivered the 21-gun salute, the U.S. Navy band on Guam played taps, and the wives of veterans, along with the wives of the First Lady and the Chief of Police, laid a wreath, all to honor the work and sacrifice of America's veterans. Governor Joanna thanked them for helping to bring about the pro-democracy changes in Eastern Europe.
Former enemies are now partners. Former tension have been replaced by friendship and cooperation. The veterans of our nation are responsible for this.
He also thanked all those now serving in Saudi Arabia, away from their loved ones, but ready to defend democracy and protect the freedom of those oppressed. Congressman Ben Blas thanked vets from Vietnam for sacrificing their flesh and blood, who served in war, then came home to rebuild, and also to those who served in peacetime and who helped preserve the peace by doing so. Then the Navy band played to honor the survivors. Every village and veterans group paid tribute to their Veteran of the Year. The 14 Veterans of the Year by organization were escorted by their sponsor, and the 19 Veterans of the Year by village were accompanied by their mayor. The men selected came from either the Marines, the Navy, and the Army. All had their own stories of sacrificing, whether in Vietnam, Korea, or World War II, as in the case of Navy man George Flores from Inarahan.
World War II, we were in Alaska at that time, see. Oh, we are the one that bring all the equipment to Alaska, see. And then we were over here too in Wake Island, see, and Midway, see. Oh, my ship is a hero, see.
Indeed.